Hi guys, and welcome back to my Texas Chainsaw Massacre series movie reviews, and today we'll be looking at Leatherface.
Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Wolfman's got Nards!
Leatherface is a 2017 horror movie directed by Alexander Bustillo and Julian Maury, and it stars Stephen Dorff, Lily Taylor and Sam Strike. As always guys, this is going to be a spoiler review. A teenage Leatherface escapes from a mental hospital with 3 other inmates, kidnapping a young nurse and taking her on a road trip from hell. This is actually the second time I've reviewed this movie on my channel. I only watched it one time 3 years ago and I didn't even remember much about it. That's how memorable this movie actually was. So this is going to be a second review for this movie. After the abomination of the Texas Chainsaw from 2013, things could only get better, right? We'll get into this part a little bit more in the review, but this was one of these movies that was, who was Leatherface? Could it be this person? Could it be that person? It's almost like a whodunit movie, but a Leatherface whodunit movie. I'm going to assume that this is a prequel to the original movie and also ties in with the Texas Chainsaw from 2013. At the very beginning, we've got a young Drayton and a young Werner. This is the first time I've heard of this character, Werner, who plays possibly Leatherface's mum. We've also got a young Nubbins as well, who's the hitchhiker from the original, so we can assume that this is a true prequel to the true original. In this version, he's still called Jedediah, or Jed for short, but he doesn't have any deformities and he looks okay. He doesn't look slow, and in fact Nubbins looks like the slow one, like he would become Leatherface, but Jed, aka Leatherface, seems like the sane one. Also, it looks like he doesn't want to kill people either. It seems like his family are the ones that are trying to coerce him into doing it. Now, I've mentioned Kim Henkel before and I'll mention him again. He's the executive producer of this film, so we can only assume there's going to be timeline problems, and straight from the beginning there was a timeline problem. Well, not in terms of the timeline itself, but the character development. We've got now a sane Leatherface. He's not sane at all. We've also got a character called Ted at the beginning, one of the teenagers. We're supposed to believe that his name is Ted Hardesty. That was confirmed by the writers. They just didn't say his name in the film. But his name's Ted Hardesty. He's supposed to be the father of Sally and Franklin from the original. So what are the chances of Sally and Frank's dad coming in contact with the Sawyers again? Is very unrealistic. Is this one of the famous butt shot attempts? We're introduced to Stephen Dorff. His daughter was killed at the start of the movie. We're led to believe that he's very stricken because he's wanting to kill the Sawyers for what they've done, but he just can't prove it. And then all of a sudden he forgets about what happened to his daughter and acts all crazy as well. Now, I do like Stephen Dorff.
Well, I'll have a warrant that says I can by the time we arrive.
Again, I think it's just the writing for this film that just didn't suit his abilities. It's the exact same with Lily Taylor. I absolutely love Lily Taylor. She was incredible in The Conjuring, but in this movie, I couldn't get past the fact that the script that she was reading from was just terrible. 10 years later, we cut to a youth reform house where Leatherface is now living, or who we think is Leatherface anyway. And this is where it gets silly straight away, because we've got this young, handsome young man, and then you've got a guy who looks like he could be Leatherface. Now, they make it so obvious that the person that looks like Leatherface is most likely not Leatherface, and that's exactly what happens in the movie. I think that they concentrated too much on trying to surprise us that this person wasn't Leatherface. They forgot an actual script. We've even got some false advertisement as well of a poster that says Leatherface, and then you've got this guy on the front cover of the poster carrying a body, and we're expected to believe that that's supposed to be Leatherface. I will admit though, some of the loose ends were tied up in this film, because you've got Werner, who's no longer a Sawyer. Well, she says she's no longer a Sawyer.
It's Mrs. Carson now.
She's now Werner Carson, and the Carsons were the rich people from the 2013 movie. So now I can see, well, I think I can see that she's going to get Leatherface back at some point and he's going to live a rich life. But then again, if he does live a rich life, then the events of the 1973 movie, or the 1974 movie set in 1973, shouldn't really happen with him, because if he's so rich, why has he moved back in with the Sawyers? I just don't know. There's a mayor in the 2013 movie called Burt Hartman, and Stephen Dorff plays Hal Hartman in this, and I think, I don't know if it's confirmed, but I think that means that Stephen Dorff as the father of the mayor from the 2013 movie. This is the part where we're supposed to put our hands on our head and think, what? Leatherface died? Wait, is that Leatherface at all? At times I felt actually embarrassed for the actors in this film. We've got this young, skinny, handsome boy who was shot in the face, and then he runs with a limp to chase his victim. And I'm like, if you're shot in the face, you don't have to limp, albeit maybe his legs were hurt at some point. But they're just trying to then quickly evolve this young skinny boy into the menacing Leatherface that we're supposed to be scared of. I can't really fault the cast. I did mention that the cast were good, and it's similar to the 2013 movie. The cast were okay. Lily Taylor, Stephen Dorff, that's some big names, but the script they were given just made them seem so bad. It's got this same dark yellow tone to it that the prequel and the remake had years ago. It's almost like they're trying to run off the success of an unsuccessful because I thought they were great, timeline, and they've used the quality and the look of the prequel and the remake and tried to capitalise on that, but they couldn't. I think it looked aesthetically pleasing, but overall it was a shambles. The idea of a road movie sounds really interesting in a Texas Chainsaw series. If only they kept the original intent for the characters. Had Leatherface been this bumbling idiot that he was in the original movie, had the other characters been the way they were from the original, if only they stuck to the actual script and made it a road movie, this could have been a lot better. As far as I could tell, when it comes to the practical effects, all I could see was practical effects. I didn't notice any CGI, and if there was any CGI, it was very minimalistic or properly used. As far as endings go, there was nothing surprising about it. This was a prequel after all, and similar to what happened in the remake's prequel, we know that nobody is going to survive, because if anyone survived, then the family wouldn't be where they were in the original movie. If I had to compare this prequel to the remake's prequel, this fell flat on its face. The prequel to the remake was far superior. I mentioned in the prequel review that I'd done, there was about a 2 or 3 minute opening scene with a really young Leatherface where we didn't see anything. It was just like paper cuttings and photographs, etc., of him being young and deformed. I think they explained a lot more in those 2 or 3 minutes, and it made more sense in those 2 or 3 minutes than the entirety of this Leatherface movie. Overall, guys, it was a terrible movie. It was aesthetically pleasing on the eye, but that couldn't mask how bad this movie actually was. So have you guys seen Leatherface? I know that there is a lot of comparisons for this movie and the prequel to the remake, and that's my main question to you. Which prequel do you prefer? The remake's prequel or the original's prequel? As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.